And it occurred to me that in the last video I showed you my changing out of the fingerprint sensor at the back airlock, but I should tell you more about these things overall. Now this one is a different model to what I've installed in the back airlock. This is the same model as the one I replaced. It does not have the key card, RFID card sensor in it. So to program this one you have to use a little remote control, which I'll show you shortly. Then put in the codes to say, okay, now I'm adding fingerprints or whatever. So this is one model, and this is the other model. So you can see there, it's got the thing that shows the card. The other difference is the LED there is different. But these are, I find them very good. Put my finger in the right place. There we go. So as you can see, sometimes it takes a few. I saw these kits on eBay and thought, that looks ideal for the lounge room. Because what I wanted to do was to set up filtered access to the lounge room here in Bakum. Because I knew I couldn't make it toddler proof, and toddlers are ubiquitous around here. So they can only get in here under supervision. And with the fingerprint access you don't have to carry a key around with you or anything like that. So these things came as kits on eBay, and there's multiple different kits. They all have a power control system, and then there's the fingerprint access unit, which I've just shown you at the rear airlock and on the doorway of the lounge room here. And then there's various options for the lock mechanism itself. Now, the kit I originally brought came with a fail-safe strike for the door. So the idea is that when you have a suitable door handle, one which can be set up so that it's locked from the outside but you can use the handle from the inside, you don't really need an exit button, which is the thing that's missing from here. But you'll see me in the previous video install one at the back airlock. These things come as two types. There's fail safe and fail secure. The fail safe ones are powered off the normally connected line in here, plus NC. So that means they're powered all the time until they're activated to release. That's fine, but if the power goes off, your door's unlocked. I didn't really care much for that idea, and when the original strike for that door failed, because it was powered all the time, of course, and things that are powered all the time eventually fail, I thought, no, I'll go for fail secure, which means that it's normally powered off the, or normally connected to the normally open connector on the power control unit here, and it's unpowered until the exit or the open function is activated, at which point it applies power, releases this piece here, and you can push the door open or pull the door open. The downside of that is that if the power goes off, you need to use a key to get in, because that ain't going to open. The other thing that came in the kit, the original kit I bought for the lounge room here, was the wireless module as well, and that allows you to just use a fob, press a button, and that will unlock the door. Not terribly useful, truth be told, but in my first implementation I applied all the bells and whistles. Like, I don't need an exit button on this door because I could just use the door handle and push out, but I included everything. And the exit button's on the side of the box that contains this thing. So my first wiring diagram was a little bit complicated. The fun part is that when I produced this stuff and said I want to put that in the lounge room, the people who were doing work here said, oh, well, we'll take all that away and we'll have a look at it, we'll figure it out, we'll come back and do it. Well, they took it away and were away for a while, and for a while longer. And apparently they even took it to people they knew in Serang to have a look at. None of them could figure it out. So I said, okay, give it back to me, I'll figure it out. And I did. So there's my wiring diagram for the initial setup. When I changed out the fail-safe strike for the fail-secure strike, all I had to do was change one wire from the NC connector here to the NO connector. That was the only change I had to do there. So that was good. As I mentioned before, programming this one, here, since it doesn't have a card, you have to put in the codes as per the documentation, and there's a little infrared sensor underneath the block on the wall, so you just point this out away you go. The card ones are easier because there's an add user card where you just tap that and then put your finger in a couple of times each finger you want to use, then tap the card again, good to go. So this is for your swinging doors. So this is a spare, this is a spare, this is left over from when I implemented the one over the shed, because the kit also came with a wireless module in it. So don't need that. So that's just for the spares, that gets the spares. So that's for swinging doors. There are a couple of other types of lock as well. There are the magnet locks, which I've got on the back door, which I will show you again shortly. And there are also pin locks, which are for the tops of your swinging glass doors. Not quite sure exactly how they work. I was contemplating getting one of those to try it, set it up for the big sliding door over at the shed, but yeah, too much trouble. But I know the pin locks, they come in many different varieties with varying numbers of wires to them, so they might take a bit of figuring out. And I was going to have to get one or two of those to experiment on, and not quite that motivated. But anyway, that's all it takes. Your diagram doesn't have to be that complicated, because mine was complicated by including the wireless module in there and the exit button, because you may not need an exit button. So there's three basic components. There's a strike, there's a fingerprint module on the wall, and then there's this power supply unit here. And there's five wires used on this unit and 4 wires used on the fingerprint module. So it's not really that complicated. If you need help, drop me a line in the comments and I'll see if I can help you figure it out. But I'll put a link in the description for the things on Australian eBay, and you can have a look at it and see whether you're going to tackle it. It does cost a couple of $100 to try, but I think it was well worth the investment. So I've got 3 of these in use now. I've got the one in the lounge room, I've got the sliding door lock set up with the magnet at the rear airlock, and I've got another one of these over in the shed at the back door. And I wouldn't be without them now. On this sliding door in the rear airlock, I've got a door closer up there so that it automatically closes, and this is the magnetic lock. It's just a metal plate that it grips onto there. My original one I had, I could not get that to grip with any strength, so I thought, oh, maybe that one's a dud. So I bought another, and I found I had exactly the same problem with that. So I thought, okay, that's probably a me problem, not the lock. So I experimented a bit and found that when I was bolting these things down, it was compressing and turning back that way a fraction. So it wasn't sitting flat. All I had to do was put a washer under the back there to jack it over, and now it grips strongly. These are good for 180 kilograms force, supposedly. So I got 360 kilograms of force needed to prise that open. The downside of these is the fact that these are on the NC connection of the power unit, so these are always powered except when they're being opened. So if the power goes off, your door's unlocked. Now I have a way around that because the switchboard is right there, and if people figure out the right breaker, or even the master breaker, turn it off, that would become unpowered and the door unlocks. But here we have a small UPS. So when the door is plugged into that, that will run the lock for about an hour and 20 minutes currently. So that might be the way to go if you plan on using sliding door type locks. The pin locks might actually get around that because they may have variants which are connected to the normally open connection on the control unit and only power up when they're being opened. But as I said, I haven't explored the pin locks very much. So, as I've indicated, there's multiple ways of operating this lock or getting out of the room. I can do click, that unlocks, or I can just turn the handle, that works, or I have the remote fob that will operate it too. The only advantage of the remote fob is that I can have that over here at my desk, and if somebody needs to be admitted who isn't on the fingerprint list, or if they're having trouble, I can press that button and that'll unlock the door for them. That's a particularly nice door handle in that it has the three functions where you can have this. Okay, so that's unlocked from both sides. If I just push that in, that says it's locked from the outside, but if I operate the handle on the inside, it unlocks for both sides. If I push it in and turn it, it's now unlocked from the inside, but locked from the outside. And that's the way you'd run it normally. But I'll include that link for that particular door handle in my description as well. Last week we figured out that the feed to the house wasn't working from here, one labelled house. That was on phase 3. So what I did was I swapped phase 2 and 3, which means that is now phase 2, that's phase 3, and this is all phase 1. That one there actually powers the gazebo outside, and our workers are going to be back tomorrow, and they're probably going to want to use power tools. So I need to have that powered, or at least the wires that go into that powered. So what I'll do is I'll move those across to add them to the north. So I'll get on with that. So these two wires that go into here, I need to add them to the wires that go into there. So to do that, I will make myself safe. In fact, to make myself doubly safe, I'll do that. So basically that's all power turned off from the far end. I shall get on with this. That's all done and tucked back together. that's it. So now I go and check for power out in the gazebo. Well, here's the problem, my feet are wet, and these tiles, when wet, are extremely slippery. And I need to get up to there to push in that push button up there, and if I get light here, we're good. I might do it from the end over there, so I've got something to hang on to all the way. There we go, we have power. I'm happy with that. And there's the tiles that have been bought for the guys to work on tomorrow. I probably won't get that far tomorrow, I'll be doing the brickwork and then a concrete platform. So the tiles will become the day after. In which case they will need power tools out here. Hence the need for power. Back into the shed. See, works first time every time. And now I can put the cover back on this and then go back home. It's another dull and rainy day, so the house was importing from the shed to charge its batteries, and it's pulled the shed down to 25% state of charge, so the genset's automatically started. That'll run until the shed is up to 55%, I think. But I will go back and sit and monitor, and if it finishes before 55%, I'll know to come over here and check the genset to see whether it's stopped properly, because if it's stopped abnormally, it'll have the alarm red flashing LED on the stop button on the genset. I think I've got a faulty pressure transducer, because the oil pressure jumps all over the place, and I think if it jumps to a low value, the genset says, whoop, that's it, I've got to shut down. So we'll see. But I'll sit and monitor this in the lounge room. It's Monday, the team's back, hard at work. The way Jabida explained it to me, there was going to be a gap between this platform and the extension, and in reality, no, there's not. I've taken the tiles off the end here, and it will be joined on. So there we go, and of course we got the drain covered over, so cleaning the muck out of that will be a pressure washer job in the future. We've got the rod for building the grid for the reinforcement. And yeah, all good. And if my voice was muffled during that, it's because I'm wearing a mask. I've got a flu-like bug at the moment, and didn't want to pass it on to these guys. Well, this is how far the guys have gotten on day one, or end of day one, back from holidays. Tomorrow I imagine we'll be framing up with the wood that we have here to make the supports for the platform they'll be putting in. And apparently the roof's going to be extended, because we seem to have a whole lot of extra galvanised iron. So I don't know. It's all beyond me. I don't know what Jabida's organised. I thought they were just going to extend the platform, but apparently the roof's being extended too. Okay. It's Tuesday evening. Looks to me like that bamboo's going mouldy already. Wouldn't surprise me at all. I only had one team member to here today. The other one had a family crisis or something. But anyway, he rendered the faces of that, and then he did steel work. It's been raining since about noon, so he's been preparing the ceiling frames to or roof frames to extend that out. So that looks like two verticals there. and a cross piece, and then yeah, okay, so that's probably all the steel work he needs. Looking at that. So interesting to see what happens tomorrow. I'm sitting in the lounge room watching these guys hard at work. Remarkable what two guys can do. I'm sure the guy right-handed is getting tired hard. And that's how it's done. It's remarkable how much a couple of capable guys can get done in a day. Well, tomorrow I guess they'll be putting a roof on it. But I do like the little touch here of putting a hat in this corner and that corner over there to try and help protect the electrics in case of rain. Nice touch, guys. Well, it's Friday morning. He was using hand saw earlier and I thought we could do better than that. So he's a happy camper now. Yesterday they got all the roof bar the south end and the ridge caps done. It sort of got a bit rainy yesterday afternoon, so I had to call a bit of a pause on that. It's still raining today, so currently framing up for the support for the platform. But yeah, I noticed during my editing that my explanation of the door lock thing was out of focus the other day, but it wasn't badly enough out of focus that I feel it's worthwhile doing it. You get what I did. Not going to redo it. And yeah, I'll go and put this together with what I've got so far and do an upload.